I have spent way more time inside my own head than I have ever spent in the real world. Honestly, most of the pain I feel comes directly from my own thoughts. But at the same time, most of the comfort I get comes from a fake reality that I have completely made up. One that actually doesn't even exist. I have this habit of over-analyzing things that happened days, weeks, or even years ago. You know exactly what I mean. Just replaying old conversations over and over in your mind. And then I spend hours practicing conversations that will probably never happen in real life. I like to imagine future success, picturing the exact places I'll be and the things I'll achieve. And it literally gives me a rush of dopamine, feeling of excitement, as if I've actually gone out there and done the work. But it's not just a normal daydreaming. It's like running full simulations, perfect scenarios of life and future that aren't actually real. Because of this, reality starts to feel secondary to the world I've created in my mind. Saying this out loud probably makes me sound a bit crazy, I know, but I have a strong feeling that a lot of you watching this know exactly what I'm talking about. Inside your head, you control everything. You control the outcomes. There is no rejection here, no embarrassment, and no failure. You always get what you want. You can be funnier, you can be smarter, you can be the most confident person in the room. You can completely detach from the pressure of the real world when you choose to live in your thoughts. And that's why it feels so safe. That's why it's so incredibly easy to fall into the trap. But there is a massive hidden cost to it. You miss out on the real opportunities because you hesitate and analyze for too long. Your real world confidence stays low because you're not getting actual feedback from real life. Everything you're feeling is just fake dopamine. And eventually, everyday life starts to feel dull, empty, and not because it actually is, but because you've stopped trying to actively participate in it. You start identifying as an overthinker, and use that label as an excuse to avoid real actions and actual change. You convince yourself that you're just preparing, that you're planning your next move, when in reality, you just avoiding life. I hit this weird realization point recently when I looked back and noticed how many entire phases of life I had imagined, but never actually lived out. You start to see how little you have actually done compared to how much you have thought about doing. And that's the real issue, I'm telling you. That's the real issue. That feeling that time is passing by so fast, but nothing is actually happening in your life. So I'm trying to actively change that now. So I'm trying to turn these visualizations away from pure imagination and actually put energy into making them real. I want to turn them into my actual reality. Sorry for my bad English, guys. Because at some point you have to realize that clarity doesn't come from overthinking, from thinking deeper, sorry. It only comes from doing it, if you guys understand. We live in a culture that tells us to constantly analyze our trauma and dissect our feelings, like in therapy, for example. But sometimes the problem with that is all you do is ruminate. You just stay stuck in your head, over-analyzing the problem without ever taking a single practical step towards making an actual change. And that's the brutal truth. Real life is always going to be messier, more chaotic, and more unpredictable than your thoughts. But that's completely fine. There is a lot of peace in just accepting that. You just have to embrace the mess. Those are my thoughts for today. Thank you guys for watching.